allow this moment to soften, just a little. Let the day loosen its grip on your shoulders like a quiet tide pulling gently away from the shore. Here, nothing is demanded of you. Nothing needs to be fixed, achieved, or understood. Only the slow rhythm of your breath and the steady calm beneath your thoughts. As the noise of the world fades into the background, you enter a space where your mind can stretch, unwind, and finally rest. As you slowly settle into stillness, notice how each gentle breath begins to soften the edges of your awareness, guiding you toward a quieter rhythm inside. You may feel the subtle release of tension, the slow melting of the day's noise, the gentle loosening of thoughts that once demanded your attention. With every inhale, your body rises softly. With every exhale, it sinks back into the quiet ground beneath you. This motion, this simple and repeated motion, begins to coax your neural network into a calmer state, inviting deep rest to wash over you in steady waves. As you continue to breathe, slowly and gently, you may begin to sense a gradual shift in your brain's internal activity. The faster beta waves of wakefulness soften, quieten, and drift downward into a more spacious field of alpha waves. These alpha waves, often associated with calm focus and inward attention, begin to spread gently across the mind like a soft, dim glow. Each wave encourages your thoughts to unwind, allowing the mind to become silent, expansive, and lightly illuminated by a soothing sense of ease. With this gentle descent, your parasympathetic system awakens slowly, inviting the vagus nerve to guide your body towards safety, towards softness, toward rest. The heart begins to settle. The breath deepens naturally. The muscles release their unnecessary grip, and the entire nervous system begins to unwind in a slow, rhythmic cascade. You may feel the subtle warmth of relaxation moving through the chest, spreading down the abdomen, and flowing gently outward into the limbs. Within this deepening quiet, the default mode network, the part of the brain that wanders, remembers, projects, worries, begins to soften its activity. Thoughts that once looped silently in the background now fade into stillness. The mind, once filled with motion, becomes a gentle landscape of slow drifting sensations and silent inner space. As the DMN quiets, the amygdala relaxes as well, no longer preparing the body for threat, but instead dissolving into softness, allowing deep rest to take root. Continue breathing slowly, gently, letting the mind unwind, letting the body settle, letting silence expand softly within you. As you continue to breathe gently and slowly, allow your awareness to drift even deeper into the quiet interior of your mind, where soft patterns of calm begin to rise and fall like distant waves. With each inhale, you create a little more space within the chest, a gentle widening that eases the body into safety. With each exhale, the torso softens and the muscles unwind, sending slow signals through the neural network that it is time to release, time to settle, time to enter a silent and nurturing state of deep rest. In this gradually unfolding stillness, the alpha waves inside the brain continue to shimmer softly, expanding their influence through regions that once carried the weight of the day. These waves do not rush, they do not push. Instead, they simply drift, gently guiding the mind toward a quieter, slower, more spacious rhythm. As you breathe, the alpha state becomes steadier, creating a gentle corridor that leads inward, downward, toward the deeper layers of the self where meditation takes root. The vagus nerve, responding softly to your slow, deep breaths, begins to calm the entire parasympathetic system in a quiet cascade that feels almost like warm light settling through you. This soft activation brings a gentle slowing of the heart, a loosening of the shoulders, a quiet relaxation spreading slowly through the abdomen. Each gentle breath signals safety. Each slow exhale signals the release of everything unnecessary. Over time, these repeated signals unwind not only the muscles, but also the subtle tensions stored within the mind. As the default mode network continues to soften its activity, drifting away from its usual patterns of wandering and remembering, you may notice a subtle spaciousness growing behind the forehead, a gentle silence forming where busy thoughts once moved quickly. This silence is not empty. It is warm, steady, and deeply soothing. It allows the mind to settle, to rest, to simply be. Meditation thrives in this spacious quiet, gently expanding its roots through the brain's intricate pathways. With the amygdala relaxing even further, its edges soften, its vigilance fades, and the body receives a clear message. You are safe. You can unwind. You can remain in this silent pocket of gentle rest. Stress chemicals diminish slowly, retreating like a tide pulling away from the shore. What remains is a quiet stillness, a soft glow of peace, and a slow settling sensation that spreads gently through every corner of your awareness. Continue breathing gently. Continue unwinding slowly. Continue allowing the silent movement of your neural network to carry you deeper into rest. As you gently sink deeper into this slow and quiet inner landscape, notice how your breath continues to guide everything with a soft and steady rhythm. Each inhale expands the chest just enough to invite calm, and each exhale releases a gentle wave of unwinding energy that travels through your entire body. This soft ebb and flow is the foundation of deep rest, a quiet pattern that reassures the neural network that it may continue to settle, continue to soften, continue to drift towards silence. With every slow breath, the transition from beta activity into a rich field of alpha waves becomes more stable. These alpha waves drift gently across the cortex, smoothing out jagged edges of thought, softening the mind's internal voice, and encouraging a calm focus that feels spacious and warm. As they spread, you may feel a quiet hush descending through the interior of your awareness, a gentle invitation to let go of the day, let go of the noise, and settle into a more silent state of being. The parasympathetic system continues its gradual activation, guided softly by the vagus nerve, which responds so deeply to slow, mindful breathing. With each gentle exhale, the vagus nerve sends signals of rest and safety through the body, telling the heart to slow, telling the muscles to release, telling the digestive system to soften and settle. This is the body's natural shift into calm, into the peaceful mode sometimes called rest and digest, where healing begins and the mind unwinds. As the default mode network grows quieter, its looping thoughts and wandering stories dissolve into a soft mist that slowly fades into the background. What remains is a gentle spaciousness, a sense that the mind is becoming clearer, softer, and more open. Meditation often begins to deepen here, in this space where silence becomes a natural presence instead of something effortful. You may feel yourself drifting into a slow rhythm of being, where thoughts no longer demand your focus, but instead float softly like distant clouds. The amygdala, freed from the pressure of constant vigilance, continues to relax in gentle increments. Its signals of alarm diminish, replaced by a slow certainty that the body is safe, that the environment is calm, that you can unwind without hesitation. As stress hormones fade, the entire internal atmosphere becomes softer, quieter, more nurturing. In this peaceful state, your neural network reorients itself toward restoration, building the foundations for deep rest. Continue breathing slowly. Continue letting go gently. Continue settling into the silent comfort spreading softly through your mind and body. As you continue to breathe gently and slowly, feel the subtle weight of your body sinking a little deeper into the surface beneath you. This sinking is not heavy. It is soft, quiet, and deeply comforting, like a gentle settling into warm sand. Each inhale welcomes a slow wave of ease, and each exhale releases a layer of tension that has been waiting patiently to unwind. The body listens carefully to this rhythm, responding with a gradual softening that spreads through the neural network in wide, silent ripples. With every slow breath, the field of alpha waves grows steadier. These gentle waves move through the mind with a quiet glow, smoothing the transitions between thoughts and reducing the urgency behind internal chatter. They invite the mind to drift inward, to wander softly into spaces where calm is natural and silence feels familiar. As these alpha rhythms settle in, you might notice a gentle clarity forming in your awareness, as if the internal landscape is becoming open, soft, and illuminated by a peaceful light. The vagus nerve remains deeply engaged in this process, responding to each slow exhale with signals that guide the body further into rest. The heart rate slows slightly, the muscles loosen even more, and the digestive system moves into a gentle, restorative mode. This quiet shift into parasympathetic activation is the foundation of deep rest. A physiological embrace that reassures your entire being that you are safe, supported, and free to unwind. Meanwhile, the default mode network continues to dim its activity. The mental loops, the wandering thoughts, the small echoes of memory and anticipation all begin to dissolve into a soft background haze. What emerges is a silent spaciousness, a gentle stillness that holds your awareness without effort. In this quiet, the mind no longer feels pulled or pushed. It simply floats, gently and slowly, like a leaf drifting on calm water. With the amygdala relaxing further, its edges soften even more. It no longer scans for danger, no longer anticipates stress, no longer sends urgent signals through the body. Instead, it becomes quiet, peaceful, almost sleepy. This relaxation brings a warm sense of emotional safety, a gentle assurance that everything is okay, that you can release the final traces of tension. As stress chemicals diminish, the body feels lighter, softer, and more open to calm. Continue breathing gently. Continue settling slowly. Continue letting the silent rhythm of rest expand softly through your entire being. As your breath continues its gentle and slow rhythm, allow your awareness to follow the soft rise and fall of your chest, as though you were observing a calm tide moving quietly along a peaceful shore. Each inhale brings a subtle widening through the ribs, creating space within the body, and each exhale invites a gentle release that helps everything settle and unwind. This soft pattern of breathing encourages your neural network to ease further into stillness, guiding the entire system toward deeper rest. With every slow breath, alpha waves continue to shimmer through the mind, smoothing activity across regions that once held tight or busy patterns. These waves drift softly, like light spreading gently across a quiet room, and they encourage your inner world to become spacious, slow, and silent. You may notice a growing sense of calm focus, a comforting clarity that comes not from effort, but from surrendering to a gentler rhythm. As the mind unwinds, thoughts lose their urgency and soften into distant murmurs. The vagus nerve, responding with sensitivity to your slow exhalations, continues sending calming signals throughout the parasympathetic system. The heart relaxes into a steady, gentle pace. The breath deepens naturally, without force. The abdomen softens, creating a warm field of rest through the center of the body. This quiet activation of the parasympathetic state allows the entire physical system to drift further into calm, supporting deep restoration from within. Meanwhile, the default mode network continues to dim, its once familiar loops and patterns growing fainter and quieter. The internal chatter begins to dissolve into stillness, and the sense of an inner spaciousness grows wider and softer. Meditation deepens in this environment, not through concentration, but through slow surrender. You simply allow the silence to expand, and the mind gently follows, drifting slowly into deeper states of rest. As the amygdala continues to relax, emotional tension melts away in gentle increments. What was once tight becomes loose, what was once alert becomes quiet, and what was once heavy becomes light. This softening brings a deep feeling of safety, a sense that you can continue to unwind without resistance. The reduction of stress chemicals allows your internal world to brighten subtly, creating a gentle warmth that spreads through the chest and settles in the abdomen. Continue breathing slowly. Continue unwinding gently. Continue allowing this silent, soothing state to expand softly through your mind and body. As you continue breathing gently and slowly, allow the soft rhythm of each inhale and exhale to guide you deeper into this quiet inner landscape. The breath moves through you like a calm tide, rising with a gentle fullness and falling with a soft, effortless release. With each slow exhale, the body unwinds a little more, and the neural network receives yet another signal that it is safe to settle, safe to drift, safe to enter deeper rest. This repeated rhythm, quiet and steady, becomes a soothing anchor for the entire mind. With every breath, alpha waves continue expanding softly through the mind's inner space, These waves, smooth and unhurried, help dissolve the noise of the day, gently lowering cognitive activity into a calmer, more fluid state. You may sense a warm ease spreading behind the forehead, as if the internal space is opening slowly, inviting a peaceful silence to settle within you. This gentle shift encourages the mind to let go, to unwind, to move toward a slow and silent clarity. The vagus nerve remains quietly active, responding to the long, slow exhalations that tell the body to soften. Its influence flows through the chest, calming the heartbeat, relaxing the diaphragm, and sending signals of comfort through the digestive system. This is the parasympathetic system at work, quietly shifting the body into deep restoration. Each gentle breath deepens this effect, creating a soft inner cocoon where the body can rest and the mind can settle. Meanwhile, the default mode network continues to retreat into stillness, its loops of thought and memory fading into a soft background. The internal narrative that once occupied the mind begins to dissolve, leaving space for quiet awareness. Meditation deepens naturally here, where there is nothing to chase, nothing to resist, only slow drifting within a silent inner world. As this network quiets, the mind becomes smooth and open, like a still lake reflecting soft light. The amygdala continues its steady relaxation, releasing layers of emotional tension in gentle waves. This softening creates a soothing sense of safety, a warmth that spreads through the chest and settles into the abdomen. Stress hormones continue to decline, giving way to calmer neurochemical states that support rest, healing, and deep quietude. As this internal shift unfolds, you may feel yourself drifting further into a tranquil space where everything feels slow, silent, and gently illuminated. Continue breathing softly. Continue settling slowly. Continue unwinding into the deep, silent comfort that spreads through your mind and body. As your breath continues in its gentle, slow rhythm, feel how each inhale softly expands the inner space of your awareness, and each exhale helps the body quietly unwind. This repeated motion, steady and soothing, creates a silent pattern that the neural network begins to follow, encouraging your entire system to drift into deeper states of calm. Allow yourself to settle in, slowly, gently, letting the breath guide you toward a quieter, more spacious inner world. With every slow breath, the alpha waves in your brain continue spreading softly, encouraging a smooth and unbroken flow of calm through your awareness. These waves help quieten the mind's internal dialogue, gently dimming the brightness of active thought and replacing it with a warm, silent glow. You may notice how thoughts seem to drift rather than grip, how ideas soften at the edges, and how focus becomes effortless, floating gently on the surface of your awareness. The vagus nerve, responding to the pace of each slow exhale, continues sending soothing signals throughout your parasympathetic system. This gentle activation lowers the heart rate, deepens the breath, and allows the digestive organs to soften into a state of quiet comfort. As this system settles, the entire body feels more grounded, more supported, and more ready to unwind. A subtle warmth may spread through the torso, reflecting the body's shift into deep rest. As the default mode network continues to quiet down, the usual mental loops, wandering thoughts, small concerns, reflective echoes, fade into a soft background mist. The mind becomes spacious, silent, and free from inner pressure. Meditation deepens here, in this wide and gentle silence, where awareness floats softly and effortlessly. There is no need to force anything. The stillness unfolds naturally as the mind surrenders to the slower rhythm. The amygdala relaxes even more, releasing residual tension from emotional memory and quiet vigilance. Its softening creates a gentle field of emotional safety, allowing deeper layers of stress to dissolve slowly. As this relaxation spreads, stress hormones recede further, and the body begins to shift into deeper physiological rest. You may feel a subtle lightness forming around the chest, or a gentle spaciousness settling behind the ribs, as if the body is quietly opening from within. Continue breathing slowly. Continue settling gently. Continue drifting deeper into this silent, soothing space created by your breath, your neural network, and the soft rhythm of stillness. As you continue breathing gently and slowly, notice how each inhale creates a soft lifting sensation within the body, and each exhale brings a gentle settling that feels like sinking into a warm, silent cushion. This slow rhythm invites the neural network to release its remaining tension, encouraging the mind and body to unwind together in a smooth, continuous drift toward deeper rest. Allow yourself to soften into this rhythm, letting each breath carry you further into calm. With every slow breath, the alpha waves continue to expand their gentle influence across the mind. They smooth out lingering fragments of busy thought and soften any sharp edges within your awareness. These waves move quietly, like soft ripples across still water, helping the mind shift into a state of slow focus where everything feels calm, silent, and unhurried. You may sense a quiet glow spreading through your inner world, as though the mind were gently illuminated from within. The vagus nerve continues responding to your slow exhalations, sending new waves of calm through your parasympathetic system. The heart beats more softly, the diaphragm relaxes, and the digestive organs settle into a peaceful rhythm. This shift signals to the entire body that it may continue unwinding, releasing, and settling. Each gentle breath deepens this sense of safety, allowing the body to move further into its natural state of restoration. At the same time, the default mode network continues to dim its activity, fading away from its usual patterns of wandering, remembering, and anticipating. The mental loops grow quieter, and and the mind becomes more spacious and silent. In this gentle stillness, meditation becomes effortless, more a soft drifting than a focused task. Awareness floats smoothly, guided not by thought, but by the slow rhythm of your breath. Meanwhile, the amygdala relaxes even more, releasing subtle emotional tension stored throughout the day. Its signals of vigilance weaken further, replaced by a warm, steady sense of safety. This shift reduces stress hormones and allows a soothing calm to spread through the chest and abdomen. You may feel this as a gentle warmth, a soft, expanding sensation, or a quiet loosening deep within the body. Continue breathing slowly. Continue unwinding gently. Continue allowing this silent, calming energy to settle into every part of your awareness as you drift deeper into rest. As your breath continues its gentle and slow rhythm, feel how each inhale softly lifts your awareness, and each exhale brings a deepening sense of quiet grounding. The body listens carefully to this steady pattern, responding with gradual softening and subtle waves of release. This slow, continuous unwinding allows the neural network to drift deeper into silence, guiding the entire system into a state of deep rest that grows more stable with every breath. With each gentle inhale and soft exhale, alpha waves continue spreading through the mind like a warm, luminous mist. These waves smooth the inner landscape, quieting scattered thoughts and dissolving the faint residue of mental activity that lingers from the day. You may notice how your awareness becomes softer, more fluid, more open to calm. The mind shifts into a slow rhythm where silence feels natural and each moment unfolds gently without pressure. The vagus nerve remains deeply engaged, responding to the long, slow exhalations that signal safety and ease. Its calming influence spreads through the chest, guiding the heart into a gentle rhythm, encouraging the diaphragm to soften and allowing the abdomen to settle. This activation of the parasympathetic system enhances the sense of grounding, creating a nourishing field of rest throughout the body. Each breath whispers softly through your system, reinforcing the feeling of deep, gentle safety. As the default mode network continues to withdraw into the background, the usual loops of inner dialogue, memory, and anticipation soften further. These mental patterns fade like distant echoes dissolving into mist. In their place, a wide inner silence emerges, allowing meditation to deepen naturally. The mind rests in this stillness, drifting slowly and effortlessly, guided by nothing but the gentle rhythm of breath and the softness expanding within. Meanwhile, the amygdala relaxes layer by layer, releasing emotional tension that may have gathered silently throughout the day. Its quieting effect spreads through the body in soft waves, reducing stress hormones and inviting a warm sense of peace to settle across your emotional landscape. This soothing shift may feel like a gentle warmth around the chest, a softening behind the sternum, or a calm expansion through the abdomen. Continue breathing slowly. Continue settling gently. Continue drifting deeper into the silent and soothing space that forms within you, guided by breath, by calm, and by the quiet rhythm of your neural network. As your breath continues in its gentle, slow rhythm, feel how each inhale subtly opens the inner space of your awareness, and each exhale allows your entire body to sink more deeply into silence. This soft pattern of rising and falling creates a soothing continuity that encourages your neural network to unwind, gently and steadily. Allow yourself to follow this rhythm, letting each breath guide you further into a quiet state of deep rest. With every slow breath, alpha waves continue their soft expansion through the mind. They smooth over lingering activity, melting away the small fragments of thought that still hover at the edges of awareness. These waves drift gently, encouraging the mind to settle into a quieter, more spacious rhythm. You may feel a warm clarity forming in it, as though the mental landscape were illuminated by a silent, gentle glow that requires no effort to perceive. The vagus nerve responds sensitively to each long exhale, sending calming signals through the parasympathetic system. The heartbeat softens, the chest relaxes, and the digestive system settles into peaceful rhythm. This quiet shift reinforces the message that the body is safe, supported, and free to unwind. Every gentle breath strengthens this internal reassurance, allowing you to drift further into relaxation with ease. The default mode network continues to dim its activity, releasing the mind from its usual patterns of wandering, analyzing, and narrating. As these loops fade into softness, the mind becomes spacious and silent, making room for the deepening of meditation. Awareness floats smoothly, untethered and unhurried, resting lightly upon the quiet currents within. The amygdala relaxes even more, shedding layers of emotional tension one gentle wave at a time. Its calming effect ripples throughout the body, reducing stress chemicals and inviting a soothing feeling of safety to settle in your chest and abdomen. This emotional softening supports the quiet clarity emerging in the mind, helping you drift deeper into a state of calm presence. Continue breathing slowly. Continue settling gently. Continue allowing the silent, soothing rhythm of your breath and neural network to guide you deeper into rest. As your breath continues its gentle, slow rhythm, notice how each inhale softly expands the inner space of your awareness, and each exhale releases a deeper wave of unwinding through the body. The breath moves like a calm tide, rising with silent ease and falling with effortless surrender. With every slow cycle, the neural network receives the same quiet message. Unwind gently, settle slowly, drift inward toward deep rest. With each breath, alpha waves continue spreading through the mind with a soft, shimmering calm. These gentle waves smooth the internal landscape, dissolving the faint remnants of thought and reducing the brain's tendency to cling to ideas or memories. You may sense an inner clearing taking place, as if the mind is becoming more open, more spacious, more quietly illuminated. This gentle clarity supports the slow drift of meditation, allowing awareness to float softly without resistance. The vagus nerve remains deeply attuned to your breath, responding to each slow exhalation with signals that encourage the parasympathetic system to deepen its activation. The heart continues its gentle slowing, the diaphragm relaxes fully, and the abdomen softens into a warm stillness. This shift nurtures a profound sense of internal safety, allowing both body and mind to unwind in harmony. Each breath reinforces the stability of this calm, settling you deeper into rest. Meanwhile, the default mode network continues its gradual descent into silence. The loops of inner narration, the quiet echoes of memory, and the subtle hum of anticipation all dissolve further. What emerges is a wide expanse of inner stillness, a soft field of awareness where meditation naturally deepens. There is no effort here, no need for control, only a gentle drifting within a quiet and spacious landscape. The amygdala relaxes further, releasing emotional tension in slow, warm waves. This softening creates a deeper sense of emotional safety, reducing stress hormones and allowing the body to slip into even quieter states of rest. You may feel this as a soft warmth behind the ribs, a loosening through the hips, or a gentle spreading ease through the chest. Each wave of release helps the mind settle more deeply into silence. Continue breathing slowly. Continue unwinding gently. Continue allowing this quiet, soothing rhythm to draw you deeper into calm, guided by breath, by silence, and by the soft glow of your neural network. As your breath continues in its gentle, slow rhythm, feel how each inhale carries a soft, lifting sensation through your body, and each exhale allows you to sink more deeply into the warm quiet beneath you. This slow motion becomes a soothing anchor, guiding your neural network into a deeper and more silent state of rest. With every soft cycle of breath, you drift a little further from the noise of the day and a little closer to a spacious inner calm. With each gentle inhale and long, slow exhale, alpha waves continue spreading through your mind like a quiet, luminous veil. These waves ease the transitions between thoughts, soften mental edges, and encourage the mind to settle into a rhythm of silence. You may feel as though your inner landscape is becoming smoother, more open, and gently illuminated by a calming glow. In this softened state, meditation unfolds naturally, carried by the gentle rhythm of your breath. The vagus nerve continues responding tenderly to your slow exhalations, sending soothing signals through your parasympathetic system. The heart settles into a gentle rhythm, the breath deepens without effort, and the abdomen relaxes into a warm field of rest. This quiet activation supports his deep physiological healing, inviting the entire body to unwind, soften, and restore. The repeated message of safety carried by each breath allows rest to deepen with ease. Meanwhile, the default mode network grows quieter still, The familiar loops of wandering thought, reflective memory, and subtle anticipation fade further into the background. In their place, a wide and silent spaciousness emerges, a soft mental openness where awareness can float freely. Meditation deepens here, not through concentration, but through gentle surrender. You simply allow the quiet to expand, and the mind drifts into it naturally. As the amygdala relaxes even further, waves of emotional tension continue to dissolve in slow, soothing ripples. This relaxation brings warmth to the chest, ease to the breath, and softness to the entire emotional landscape. Stress hormones fall away, replaced by gentle neurochemical states that support safety, calm, and deep rest. You may sense a quiet comfort spreading inward, as though the body is being held in a soft, silent cradle of warmth. Continue breathing slowly. Continue unwinding gently. Continue drifting deeper into this silent, soothing state where breath, body, and mind rest together. As your breath continues its gentle, slow rhythm, feel how each inhale softly opens the inner space of your chest, and each exhale brings a deeper, quieter settling throughout your entire body. This slow pattern, repeating softly again and again, encourages the neural network to loosen its remaining tensions and drift further into silence. Allow this gentle rhythm to guide you, helping you unwind with each cycle of breath. With each soft inhale and each long, slow exhale, the alpha waves continue spreading through your mind, smoothing the inner currents of thought. These waves move quietly, dissolving the faint hum of mental activity that lingers at the edges of awareness. You may feel your thoughts becoming lighter, less defined, drifting softly like distant clouds across a twilight sky. This gentle spaciousness allows meditation to deepen without effort, simply by allowing the mind to rest in its own slow rhythm. The vagus nerve, deeply attuned to your breath, responds to every slow exhalation with calming signals that ripple through the parasympathetic system. The heart continues its gentle slowing, the diaphragm relaxes further, and the abdomen settles into a soft, warm stillness. This physiological shift reassures the body that it is safe, grounded, and supported. Each breath strengthens this sense of security, allowing you to drift deeper into restoration. Meanwhile, the default mode network continues to soften its activity, releasing the mind from looping thoughts and subtle internal narratives. As these familiar patterns dissolve, a wide and quiet inner space appears, a space where awareness floats freely, spacious and silent. Meditation deepens within this openness, guided not by intention, but by the gentle unfolding of quiet itself. The amygdala continues relaxing in gentle waves, releasing emotional tension that may have settled quietly throughout the day. Its softening brings warmth and ease to the chest, loosening the subtle hold of stress that once lived beneath the surface. As these emotional layers unwind, the body receives a clear signal to rest more deeply, and the mind drifts into an even calmer state of being. Continue breathing slowly. Continue settling gently. Continue allowing this silent, soothing rhythm to draw you deeper into rest, supported by breath, by calm, and by the gentle glow within your neural network. As your breath continues its gentle, slow rhythm, notice how each inhale softly lifts your awareness, and each exhale guides your body into a deeper, quieter sense of release. The movement is subtle, steady, and comforting. A slow ebb and flow that encourages your neural network to unwind layer by layer. With every cycle of breath, you drift further from the noise of the day and closer to a silent inner calm that expands softly within you. With each long, slow exhale, the alpha waves continue spreading through your mind like a soft, luminous ripple. They smooth the inner surface of your awareness, dissolving small fragments of thought and reducing the mind's tendency to grasp or analyze. You may feel a gentle clarity forming, as if your thoughts are becoming lighter, softer, and more distant. This quiet state allows meditation to deepen naturally, unfolding without effort as the mind moves into silence. The vagus nerve remains deeply responsive, guided by the slow rhythm of your breath. Every gentle exhale sends calming waves through your parasympathetic system, encouraging the heart to beat softly and steadily. The diaphragm relaxes, the abdomen warms, and the digestive system settles into a peaceful rhythm. This physiological shift creates a sense of internal safety that continues to deepen with each breath, supporting the body's natural inclination toward rest and restoration. As the default mode network grows quieter, its familiar loops of inner dialogue and wandering thoughts begin to dissolve into a soft, silent haze. The mind becomes more spacious, more open, more deeply receptive to calm. Meditation deepens here, in this wide inner stillness where awareness can float freely and gently. There is no need to direct the mind. The quiet itself becomes the guide. The amygdala softens even further, releasing subtle layers of emotional tension with each slow wave of relaxation. This softening brings warmth to the chest, ease to the breath, and a gentle quieting of the emotional landscape. Stress hormones continue to diminish, allowing the body to shift deeper into a calm, restorative state. You may sense a quiet glow forming within, a soothing warmth that spreads gently from your center outward. Continue breathing slowly. Continue unwinding gently. Continue drifting deeper into this silent and soothing space, guided by breath, by stillness, and by the gentle rhythm of your neural network. As your breath continues in its gentle, slow rhythm, feel how each inhale softly opens the chest and lifts your inner awareness, while each exhale brings a deeper, quieter settling into stillness. This slow, steady motion becomes a silent guide, encouraging the neural network to unwind in smooth, delicate waves. With every breath, you drift a little further into calm, allowing the body and mind to soften together in harmony. With each gentle inhale and long, slow exhale, alpha waves continue spreading softly across the mind. These waves create a smooth, luminous field that quiets lingering thoughts and reduces the urge to analyze or anticipate. You may notice how ideas become lighter, how internal chatter fades, and how your awareness begins to float gently within a soft, silent space. Meditation deepens naturally here, carried by the slow rhythm of breath and the quiet unfolding of inner stillness. The vagus nerve responds tenderly to each slow exhalation, sending soothing signals through the parasympathetic system. The heart settles into a calm, steady beat. The diaphragm relaxes fully, and the abdomen warms with gentle ease. This shift supports deep physiological rest, signaling to the entire body that it is safe, grounded, and free to unwind. Each breath strengthens this sense of comfort, allowing the body to sink even deeper into restorative quiet. Meanwhile, the default mode network continues its gradual descent into silence. The looping patterns of inner dialogue, the subtle echoes of memory, the soft pull of anticipation fade further into the background. In their place, a wide, open stillness emerges, giving awareness room to spread out and rest. Meditation becomes effortless here. Not something you do, but something that simply unfolds through gentle, quiet presence. The amygdala relaxes further, releasing emotional tension in slow, warm waves that move through the chest and settle softly in the abdomen. This gentle unwinding reduces stress hormones and supports a deep sense of emotional safety. You may feel a soft warmth radiating through the torso, as if the entire inner landscape were being quietly illuminated from within. Continue breathing slowly. Continue settling gently. Continue allowing this silent, soothing rhythm to guide you deeper into rest, carried by breath, calm, and the gentle movement of your neural network. As your breath continues its gentle, slow rhythm, notice how each inhale brings a soft expansion through your chest, and each exhale allows your entire body to ease further into stillness. This unhurried pattern creates a tender, repetitive motion that reassures your neural network, encouraging it to unwind slowly, gently, and steadily. With every breath, you drift deeper into quiet, allowing your awareness to soften like a warm light, settling into a calm room. With each slow breath, the alpha waves continue spreading softly across your mind, smoothing any lingering movement in your thoughts. These waves drift gently, dissolving sharp edges of awareness and ushering in a quiet, spacious clarity. You may sense your inner landscape becoming softer, wider, more open to silence. Meditation deepens naturally in this state, as the mind follows the slow rhythm of your breath and settles into a peaceful, silent glow. The vagus nerve remains attuned to your long, slow exhalations, sending calming signals throughout your parasympathetic system. The heart relaxes into a gentle rhythm, The breath flows with effortless ease, and the abdomen softens like warm sand beneath a rising tide. This physiological shift nurtures a profound sense of internal safety, allowing the body to rest, restore, and unwind without resistance. Each breath reinforces this softening, grounding you deeper within the quiet. As the default mode network continues to fade into silence, the loops of inner narration and wandering thoughts dissolve even further. What remains is a deep, open stillness, a spacious awareness that requires no effort to maintain. Meditation deepens here, guided by silence rather than thought, allowing you to drift gently within a soft, expansive calm. The amygdala relaxes layer by layer, releasing emotional tension in slow, comforting waves. Its softening sends warmth through the chest and ease through the abdomen, reducing stress hormones and inviting deep rest to settle throughout your body. You may feel a gentle glow circulating from your center, spreading slowly outward, as if your entire emotional landscape were being bathed in quiet light. Continue breathing slowly. Continue unwinding gently. Continue drifting deeper into this silent, soothing state, carried softly by breath, by calm, and by the slow rhythm of your neural network. As your breath continues its gentle, slow rhythm, allow each inhale to softly widen the space within your chest, and each exhale to guide your body deeper into quiet ease. This tender ebb and flow becomes a steady anchor, helping your neural network relax in long, soothing waves. With every breath, you drift further from the noise of the day and deeper into a silent inner landscape where calm unfolds naturally and slowly. With each gentle inhale and slow exhale, the alpha waves continue expanding through your mind, smoothing the currents of thought and dissolving subtle traces of tension. These waves move softly, like a quiet glow spreading through a dimly lit room, encouraging the mind to settle into a calm and open clarity. Thoughts lose their urgency, drifting like light mist across a still horizon. In this softened state, meditation deepens effortlessly, carried by silence rather than effort. The vagus nerve remains deeply receptive to the rhythm of your breath, responding to each slow exhalation with gentle signals that soothe your parasympathetic system. The heart rests in a slow, steady beat. The diaphragm relaxes fully, and the abdomen warms with a quiet ease. This internal shift invites the entire body to unwind, to soften, to release its final layers of tension. Each breath reinforces this deep sense of safety, allowing rest to take root more firmly. Meanwhile, the default mode network continues fading into the background, its loops of memory, reflection, and inner dialogue dissolving further into silence. What takes their place is a wide, open space within the mind, a gentle stillness where awareness can float freely. Meditation deepens here, guided by the soft movement of breath and the quiet glow spreading through the neural network. The amygdala softens even more, releasing subtle emotional tension with warm, steady waves. This soothing shift reduces stress chemicals and brings a gentle warmth to the chest, a quiet loosening behind the sternum, and a soft spreading ease through the abdomen. You may feel as though the emotional landscape is settling into a tranquil glow, gently illuminated from within. Continue breathing slowly. Continue unwinding gently. Continue drifting deeper into this silent, soothing field of calm, supported by breath, by stillness, and by your quiet neural rhythms. As your breath continues in its gentle, slow rhythm, feel how each inhale quietly expands the inner space of your body, and each exhale guides you deeper into a soft and silent settling. This slow cycle becomes a tender reassurance, inviting your neural network to release its remaining tension in long, soothing waves. With every breath, you drift further into tranquility, allowing the body and mind to unwind together in gentle harmony. With each soft breath, alpha waves continue spreading through your mind like a smooth, luminous mist. They soften lingering thoughts, ease the edges of awareness, and encourage the mind to drift into a calm, spacious clarity. You may feel your internal landscape growing quieter, as though illuminated by warm, silent light. In this softened environment, meditation deepens naturally, guided not by effort, but by the gentle rhythm of breath and the growing stillness within. The vagus nerve remains attuned to your slow exhalations, sending gentle waves of calm through the parasympathetic system. The heart rests in a steady, quiet rhythm. The diaphragm relaxes fully, and the abdomen softens into warm ease. This physiological shift reinforces a deep sense of safety and grounding, allowing the entire body to continue unwinding in slow, comforting layers. Each breath strengthens this state of rest, helping you drift deeper into serene stillness. Meanwhile, the default mode network continues dissolving into silence. The loops of inner dialogue, the subtle echoes of memory, and the quiet pull of anticipation all fade further into background haze. What remains is a wide, open space, a silent mental field where awareness can rest without pressure. Meditation deepens here, unfolding like a slow, gentle descent into softness and quiet light. The amygdala relaxes even more, releasing emotional tension in warm, gradual waves that spread through the chest and abdomen. Stress hormones continue to decline, replaced by soothing neurochemical signals that support deep rest and emotional ease. You may feel a gentle warmth circulating through your torso, like a soft glow that spreads slowly outward, comforting and calming every corner of your awareness. Continue breathing slowly. Continue unwinding gently. Continue drifting deeper into this silent, soothing space, guided by breath, by calm, and by the quiet rhythm flowing through your neural network. As your breath continues in its gentle, slow rhythm, feel how each inhale softly opens the space within your chest, and each exhale allows your body to melt deeper into quiet stillness. This slow and tender motion becomes a silent guide, encouraging your neural network to release tension in long, smooth waves. With every breath, you drift further from the noise of the outer world and deeper into the soft, silent expanse within. With each gentle inhale and long, slow exhale, the alpha waves continue spreading across the mind like a warm, soothing veil. These waves soften stray thoughts, smooth inner motion, and create a gentle spaciousness where awareness can rest easily. You may notice the mind becoming lighter, quieter, more open, as if illuminated by a silent, calming glow. In this softened state, meditation deepens naturally, unfolding without effort as silence expands within you. The vagus nerve remains deeply attuned to each slow exhalation, sending calming signals throughout your parasympathetic system. The heart settles into a slow, steady beat. The diaphragm relaxes fully, and the abdomen warms with gentle ease. This quiet physiological shift reinforces a sense of safety and grounding, allowing your body to sink further into rest. Each breath strengthens this comforting state, helping you settle more deeply into stillness. The default mode network continues its slow retreat into silence, releasing the mind from loops of reflection, memory, and anticipation. These familiar patterns grow faint, dissolving into soft background quiet. What emerges is a wide, expansive stillness, a calm inner space where awareness floats without pressure or direction. Meditation becomes effortless here, guided only by the gentle rhythm of breath and the silent glow of calm moving through the neural network. The amygdala relaxes further, releasing subtle emotional tension in warm, steady waves. This softening reduces stress hormones, allowing a deep emotional ease to spread through the chest and abdomen. You may feel a gentle warmth growing within, a soothing presence that radiates softly outward, calming every part of your internal world. Continue breathing slowly. Continue unwinding gently. Continue drifting deeper into this silent, soothing space where breath, body, and mind rest together in quiet harmony. As your breath continues in its gentle, slow rhythm, allow each inhale to softly widen the inner space of your awareness, and each exhale to guide your body into a deeper, quieter sense of release. This tender flow becomes a steady anchor, helping your neural network ease into silence with slow, soothing waves. With every breath, you drift further into calm, allowing both mind and body to unwind in seamless harmony. With each gentle inhale and long, slow exhale, alpha waves continue expanding smoothly through the mind. These waves move softly, dissolving lingering traces of thought and creating a spacious clarity within. You may sense your inner landscape becoming softer, wider, more open to silence. Thoughts lose their shape, drifting quietly like mist across a warm horizon. In this softened state, meditation deepens naturally, guided by the slow rhythm of breath and the quiet unfolding of inner stillness. The vagus nerve stays tenderly responsive to your slow exhalations, sending calming signals throughout your parasympathetic system. The heart settles into a gentle rhythm. The diaphragm relaxes with effortless ease, and the abdomen softens into warm stillness. This shift nurtures a deep sense of internal safety, allowing the entire body to continue unwinding. Each breath reinforces this gentle reassurance, helping rest settle more deeply within you. Meanwhile, the default mode network continues withdrawing into the background, releasing the mind from loops of inner dialogue and anticipatory thought. These familiar patterns dissolve into a soft, silent haze, leaving behind an expansive inner space where awareness can float freely. Meditation deepens here, unfolding quietly without effort, as silence becomes the natural resting place of your mind. The amygdala relaxes even further, shedding layers of emotional tension in warm, steady waves. This softening brings ease to the chest, warmth to the breath, and a gentle calm spreading through the abdomen. Stress hormones diminish, replaced by quiet neurochemical signals that support restoration and inner peace. You may feel a subtle glow spreading from your center, radiating outward with tender warmth. Continue breathing slowly. Continue settling gently. Continue drifting deeper into this silent, soothing field of calm, guided by breath, by stillness, and by the gentle rhythm of your neural network. Within the quiet interior of the nervous system, a gradual reorganization begins to take place. Neural circuits that typically maintain alertness and outward focus start reducing their firing rates, allowing subtler pathways associated with introspection and restorative processing to take precedence. As cortical activity decreases in intensity, the transition towards slower oscillatory states becomes more apparent, particularly in the gentle rise of alpha rhythms across the posterior regions of the brain. These waves function like a neurological dimmer switch, lowering sensory gating and encouraging a soft shift toward inward attention. This change in oscillatory balance also influences the thalamus, which acts as a central relay for sensory information. When thalamic gating relaxes, the mind receives fewer incoming impulses, enabling a smoother descent into states characterized by internal quiet and reduced cognitive load. This reduction in sensory traffic supports the emergence of theta activity, a frequency range associated with early meditative absorption, memory integration, and subtle forms of self-processing that unfold beneath conscious effort. Meanwhile, vagal pathways extend their steady influence over the cardiovascular and visceral systems. Increased vagal tone gently modulates heart rate variability, producing a rhythm associated with emotional stability and improved regulatory capacity. The digestive tract receives signals that favor restoration and nutrient absorption, marking a physiological shift from mobilization to recuperation. In this state, energy previously reserved for vigilance becomes available for cellular repair and metabolic balance. As these parasympathetic dynamics stabilize, the default mode network enters a phase of reduced coherence. Regions such as the medial prefrontal cortex and the posterior cingulate begin to loosen their synchronization, allowing patterns of autobiographical rumination to soften. The sense of a continuously narrating self grows dimmer, replaced by a quiet field of awareness in which inner experience unfolds without urgency. This is often described in meditation research as a state of decentered presence, where perception widens and identification with thought weakens naturally. The amygdala, freed from the constant stream of anticipatory input, lowers its baseline activation. Each reduction in its signaling diminishes the release of stress-related neurotransmitters, producing a warm emotional quiet that spreads through the limbic system. This shift encourages the hippocampus and prefrontal regions to communicate more fluidly, supporting memory consolidation and calm reflective capacity. Emotional contours soften, becoming gentle, rounded, and silent. Within this constellation of neural changes, slower oscillations, reduced sensory load, increased vagal tone, softened DMN activity, and a quiet limbic response, the mind enters a uniquely receptive state. It is a space where awareness can deepen without force, where silence feels expansive, and where the entire neurophysiological system aligns toward rest. Within the cerebral cortex, as external demands diminish, networks responsible for executive control begin to downshift, allowing secondary systems involved in internal monitoring and subtle interoceptive awareness to emerge with greater clarity. This shift alters the balance of neurotransmitters circulating through synaptic junctions. Glutamatergic activity gradually quiets, while GABAergic inhibition rises, producing a softer, more regulated flow of neural signaling. The brain begins operating with a quieter metabolic footprint, conserving glucose and diverting resources towards stabilizing long-range synchrony. During this slow reconfiguration, the precuneus, a central hub for self-referential processing, reduces its metabolic intensity. This decrease is closely associated with a loosening of the cognitive structures that maintain personal identity and autobiographical thinking. The sense of being the thinker of thoughts becomes less distinct, replaced by a gentle spaciousness that allows experience to unfold without the usual interpretive filters. Researchers often describe this state as a form of perceptual decoupling, where the mind temporarily releases its habitual frameworks. In parallel, the insular cortex assumes a more prominent role. This region, deeply involved in monitoring the internal environment of the body, becomes increasingly sensitive to subtle physiological cues. It detects faint fluctuations in temperature, heartbeat, and visceral rhythm, translating these signals into a low-frequency, diffuse sense of embodied presence. As attentional resources shift inward, the insula provides a quiet anchor, supporting a stable, grounded awareness that does not depend on external stimulation. Further down in the autonomic hierarchy, the vagus nerve maintains a consistent regulating influence. Elevated vagal tone enhances the synchronization between breath, cardiac rhythm and digestive function, creating a coherent physiological state often referred to as resonant calm. This state allows neural pathways involved in threat detection to relax, opening space for parasympathetic dominance to deepen. The body moves steadily into a mode optimized for long-term repair, hormonal balance, and immune stability. At the same time, gradual reductions in default mode network activity create an environment where cortical regions can communicate in novel and fluid ways. Connectivity patterns that are usually overshadowed by self-referential processing become more prominent, enabling the emergence of insights, associative imagery, and subtle shifts in perception. This is not a state of heightened thinking, but rather a quiet reorganization beneath conscious awareness, where the mind aligns itself with slower, more coherent rhythms. Across the limbic system, amygdala signaling remains low, allowing emotional patterns to flatten into gentle neutrality. This soft emotional baseline supports the gradual entrance into deeper meditative absorption, where the boundaries between thought, sensation, and silence become more permeable. The entire system moves toward a unified state of quiet regulation, where internal experience flows with ease and without resistance. As the meditative state deepens, large-scale brain networks begin to reorganize in ways that are subtle, yet profoundly stabilizing. One of the most notable adjustments occurs in the interplay between the salience network and the default mode network. Under ordinary waking conditions, the salience network continuously scans for changes in the environment, prioritizing stimuli that may require rapid action. In quieter internal states, however, its threshold for activation rises, meaning that fewer signals are interpreted as relevant. This shift allows the DMN to soften further, while creating room for the frontoparietal control network to enter a more balanced, regulated mode. In this quiet interplay, the anterior cingulate cortex assumes an important modulatory role. Its capacity to integrate emotional tone with cognitive awareness becomes more refined as its activity slows. Rather than orchestrating a rapid response to perceived conflict or discomfort, it transitions into a supervisory function that maintains gentle coherence across the system. The result is an experience of calm alertness, stable, spacious, and non-reactive. Beneath this cortical coordination, subcortical structures adapt as well. The thalamus, acting as the sensory gateway of the brain, gradually reduces the amplitude of its relay signals. This reduction is not a shutdown, but a refinement. Sensory information is still processed, but with softened intensity and lowered priority. This permits a drifting quality in awareness, where sensation becomes diffuse, unhurried, and no longer presses itself upon consciousness with its usual insistence. Within the hippocampal formation, memory consolidation processes begin to align with the slower oscillatory rhythms emerging throughout the cortex. Experiences of the day, normally encoded with rapid bursts of gamma activity, now reconfigure under the influence of slower, more coherent waves. This creates ideal conditions for integration, where emotional tone, factual memory, and implicit learning settle into long-term storage with minimal friction. The gentler the oscillatory environment, the more fluidly these forms of memory can stabilize. Meanwhile, vagal dominance continues to shape the internal environment of the body. A high vagal tone promotes steady heart rate variability, which is associated with improved emotional resilience and physiological flexibility. With the sympathetic system quieted, the endocrine response shifts accordingly. Cortisol levels decline, and hormones that favor repair and growth, such as oxytocin and melatonin, gain influence. This constellation of effects produces a deep sense of restoration, one that extends far beyond conscious awareness. Emotionally, the reduced activation of the amygdala allows for a simplification of affective processing. Emotions are not suppressed. Rather, they become less gripping, less pointed, more diffused into a gentle, continuous field. This flattening of emotional peaks creates a stable platform for introspective clarity. Without being pulled by reactive impulses, awareness can remain open, observing inner phenomena with a softness that feels both grounded and expansive. Together, these neural and physiological adjustments support a state in which the mind is quiet, the body is soothed, and inner experience unfolds with a slow, steady coherence. As meditative absorption stabilizes, the architecture of attentional control undergoes a gradual recalibration. Regions within the dorsolateral prefrontal cortex reduce their top-down regulatory efforts, allowing attention to shift from effortful focus toward a more diffuse, receptive mode. This change does not reflect disengagement, but rather a refined form of awareness in which monitoring becomes gentle, continuous, and energetically economical. Cognitive load lightens, freeing neural resources that are otherwise occupied by task-driven control. Concurrently, the posterior parietal cortex, responsible for constructing the brain's internal map of space and bodily orientation, softens its activity. When its computational demands decrease, the boundary between internal sensation and external perception becomes more permeable. This can produce a subtle shift in subjective experience. The body feels less rigidly outlined, more spacious, more fluid in its presence. Such perceptual softening is well documented in contemplative neuroscience and is often described as a precursor to deeper states of non-dual awareness. Across the midbrain, neuromodulatory nuclei adjust their output to match the quieter internal environment. The locus coeruleus, which governs noradrenergic signaling and arousal, reduces its tonic firing rate. Lower noradrenaline levels decrease hypervigilance and enhance the brain's capacity to stabilize in slower oscillatory rhythms. Simultaneously, serotonergic pathways from the dorsal raphe nucleus exert a balancing influence, promoting patience, emotional steadiness, and a gentle orientation toward internal calm. In the cerebellum, long associated primarily with motor coordination, but increasingly understood as a major contributor to cognitive and emotional regulation. Activity patterns become more synchronized with the slower cortical rhythms. The cerebellum's predictive modeling relaxes, reducing the sense of internal urgency and fine-tuning the temporal flow of experience. This helps stabilize the smooth, unbroken continuity characteristic of deep meditative states. Further integration occurs within the autonomic nervous system. As parasympathetic dominance continues, the body enters an energetically conservative mode in which metabolic processes shift toward repair, immune balancing, and long-term resilience. Heart rate variability remains high, enabling the cardiovascular system to respond adaptively even as it rests. Digestive processes become more efficient, and the body's inflammatory profile quietly improves through reductions in sympathetic-driven cytokine release. Within the emotional landscape, the limbic system operates in a softened, low-intensity mode. The amygdala's subdued activity allows the hippocampus to process emotional memory without being overshadowed by reactive appraisal. This strengthens the consolidation of calm-associated learning, meaning the nervous system becomes incrementally better at returning to this quiet state in the future. Emotional tone settles into a steady neutrality, neither elevated nor suppressed, simply quiet, spacious, and continuous. In this constellation of chains, reduced top-down control, softened spatial boundaries, balanced neuromodulation, synchronized cerebellar rhythms, stable parasympathetic dominance, and gentle limbic quiet, you enter a state where inner experience unfolds with minimal resistance. Perception becomes slow, continuous, and quietly luminous. As the internal environment continues to stabilize, the brain's oscillatory landscape shifts toward greater coherence across multiple frequency bands. Alpha rhythms maintain their gentle dominance, but subtle increases in theta activity begin to appear within midline cortical structures. Theta oscillations, often associated with deep introspection and early stages of memory reprocessing, create a bridge between conscious awareness and the quieter, more implicit layers of the mind. This bridging effect allows information normally stored beneath the surface to drift upward in softened, symbolic forms rather than in sharply defined thoughts. Within the medial temporal lobe, the interplay between the hippocampus and surrounding cortices adapts to this oscillatory shift. The hippocampus, sensitive to both theta and gamma coupling, enters a mode where memory traces can reorganize with minimal emotional coloring. Because amygdala signaling remains low, the hippocampus can integrate experiences without the urgency or defensive imprint that accompanies high arousal states. This contributes to a gentle recalibration of emotional memory, laying the groundwork for long-term resilience. In deeper structures of the brainstem, the autonomic nuclei continue refining their contributions to internal balance. Respiratory centers in the pons and medulla synchronize more closely with the cardio-inhibitory fibers of the vagus nerve. This synchrony creates a stable, rhythmic pattern, sometimes referred to as coherent respiration, that enhances oxygen efficiency and supports metabolic conservation. The entire body becomes oriented towards sustaining internal harmony rather than preparing for external action. Within the endocrine system, the hypothalamus adjusts its signaling accordingly. Corticotropin-releasing hormone decreases, resulting in a continued reduction of cortisol output from the adrenal cortex. In its place, neurochemicals such as oxytocin and endorphins gain a subtle prominence. These compounds, associated with emotional warmth and analgesia, create a gentle internal glow that permeates the body with quiet comfort. Over time, this altered neurochemical profile reinforces the meditative state, making it easier for the mind and body to remain settled. Meanwhile, cortical midline structures responsible for generating the sense of a continuously maintained self continue their slow withdrawal. Activity in the medial prefrontal cortex remains low, allowing thought patterns tied to personal evaluation or narrative construction to dissolve. What emerges is a more fluid form of awareness, present, open, and not anchored to a rigid sense of identity. In contemplative research, this phenomenon is sometimes termed self-transcendent quiet, a state in which the boundaries of the self feel softened and permeable. In the cerebellum, predictive modeling relaxes even further, freeing the mind from the subtle micro-corrections that usually shape the perception of time. Without these corrections, moments feel broader, slower, and less distinctly punctuated. Experience begins to unfold in a smooth, continuous stream, rather than in discrete cognitive frames. This contributes to the characteristic timelessness reported in deep meditative absorption. Emotionally, the system remains calm and unforced. With the amygdala quiet and limbic signaling low, emotional tone resembles a gentle, even field rather than a series of peaks. This stability allows for clarity without sharpness, calm without dullness, a balanced neutrality that supports deep rest and internal coherence. As the meditative state continues to unfold, the brain's temporal dynamics shift toward a more coherent and energy-efficient mode. One of the most distinctive features of this transition is the emergence of cross-frequency coupling, in which slower rhythms such as theta waves begin influencing the amplitude and timing of faster oscillations. This coupling creates an organized hierarchy within neural signaling, allowing widely separated regions of the cortex to communicate smoothly despite reduced overall activity. The result is a quiet yet highly coordinated internal environment. In the medial temporal lobe, theta oscillations facilitate a gentle reorganization of memory traces. Under typical waking conditions, memories are encoded amidst a backdrop of competing stimuli and rapid contextual switching. In the quietened meditative state, however, hippocampal circuits experience far fewer interruptions, enabling them to integrate emotional tone, sensory fragments, and narrative meaning with greater stability. Such integration contributes to the gradual sense of coherence many practitioners report, even when no explicit insight is consciously formed. Meanwhile, the orbitofrontal cortex adapts to the slower physiological tempo by reducing evaluative processing. This region ordinarily participates in assigning value, judging whether stimuli are pleasant, threatening, or neutral. As its activity softens, the emotional coloring of experience becomes less pronounced. Sensations, thoughts, and internal signals arise with a quieter, more even tone. This reduction in reactive valuation is one of the mechanisms behind the growing neutrality and spaciousness often associated with deeper meditation. In the basal ganglia, particularly within the striatum, dopamine release patterns decrease in amplitude but become more stable in frequency. Lower dopamine variability reduces the impulse for action initiation, helping the body remain still while maintaining a sense of internal continuity. At the same time, the cerebellum subtly recalibrates predictive timing models to align with the quieter internal rhythm, smoothing subjective time perception into a single, unbroken flow. The spinal autonomic pathways also adjust to the sustained presence of parasympathetic dominance. Motor neuron excitability decreases, contributing to the feeling of heaviness or groundedness in the limbs, while visceral afferents transmit signals of calm and softness upward through the spinal cord. These ascending signals reinforce the stable resting state of the cortex, closing the loop between body and brain in a slow, harmonious cycle. Across the endocrine system, the hypothalamus maintains a steady reduction in stress-related output. Corticotropin-releasing hormone levels remain low, which cascades into reduced cortisol secretion over time. This shift optimizes conditions for cellular repair, immune restoration, and metabolic balance. What begins as a psychological quiet gradually permeates the biochemical landscape of the body, aligning internal systems toward rest and long-term resilience. Taken together, these adaptations allow experience to unfold without fragmentation. The mind becomes a wide, silent field in which activity settles into coherent patterns, and the body enters a physiologically sustainable state of restoration. Nothing is forced. Rather, the entire neurophysiological system relaxes into an intricate equilibrium defined by stability, softness, and continuity. Pacha Yirmi Yedi. As meditative depth increases, the internal timing mechanisms of the brain begin to shift in subtle but measurable ways. The suprachiasmatic nucleus, the body's master circadian regulator, adjusts its downstream influence as sympathetic arousal decreases. This allows peripheral clocks throughout the digestive tract, liver, and cardiovascular system to synchronize more coherently, reducing physiological noise and creating a stable internal rhythm. The result is a gentle alignment between neural oscillations and metabolic cycles, a harmony that supports restorative processes. Within the cortex, gamma band activity, normally associated with rapid integration and high cognitive demand, begins to appear not as sharp bursts, but as soft, transient harmonics layered atop slower alpha and theta waves. This coexistence creates a unique pattern of cross-frequency coupling in which fast oscillations ride on the crests of slower rhythms. Such coupling is linked to states of insight, emotional regulation, and a softened form of meta-awareness that does not rely on verbal thought. The ventromedial prefrontal cortex, often involved in valuation and emotional meaning-making, reduces its evaluative calculations. Instead of parsing experience into categories of benefit or threat, it shifts toward a quieter observational mode. This easing of value-based processing enables experience to be met with neutrality, creating conditions where subtle sensations, faint shifts in mood, and quiet mental tones can unfold without being pushed into narrative interpretation. Deeper in the brainstem, the parabrachial complex slows its relay of interoceptive intensity. Signals related to pain, temperature, and visceral tension become gentler, allowing the felt sense of the body to stabilize into a soft continuum rather than a constellation of distinct sensations. This contributes to the familiar meditative experience in which the body feels warm, unified, and quietly suspended. Within the spinal cord, descending inhibitory pathways become more active, reducing peripheral muscle tone and softening reflexive contractions. The musculature enters a state of low-level relaxation, releasing long-held patterns of microtension. This relaxation feeds back into the brain through proprioceptive channels, reinforcing the sense of bodily ease and helping sustain the meditative state without effort. The emotional field continues its subtle transformation. With amygdala reactivity low and hippocampal integration steady, emotional memory is processed in a gentle, unforced manner. Experiences that normally trigger contraction or rumination instead settle into a broader, quieter context. This fosters an internal environment where clarity emerges slowly, like patterns forming on still water. In this convergence of neural, physiological, and emotional processes, the system enters a mode of profound stability. Experience becomes continuous, slow, and quietly illuminated, neither dull nor agitated, simply open. 28. Within deeper meditative phases, the brain's temporal processing undergoes a measurable transformation. Regions within the basal ganglia and supplementary motor areas, normally responsible for sequencing actions and maintaining the felt passage of time, begin to decouple from their usual predictive loops. When these structures reduce their rhythmic firing, the subjective sense of time gradually elongates. Moments feel slower, broader, and less segmented. Cognitive neuroscience describes this as a shift from time-bound attention toward a state of temporal diffusion, where awareness becomes less anchored to linear progression. This slowing of temporal perception allows additional resources to be reallocated toward interoceptive networks. The posterior insula, in particular, amplifies its sensitivity to subtle bodily fluctuations. Signals related to visceral tone, vascular pulsation, and micro-adjustments in musculature emerge into awareness not as discrete events, but as a continuous, gentle field of sensation. These signals form a kind of internal landscape map, guiding attention deeper into embodied presence. Simultaneously, the auditory cortex modifies its gain control. External sounds, though still detectable, lose their sharpness and emotional salience. This perceptual softening is supported by decreased amygdala tagging, meaning external stimuli are no longer rapidly evaluated for threat or relevance. Sounds become part of a broader sensory background, a diffuse, non-intrusive texture, rather than a sequence of events demanding interpretation. This contributes to the stabilization of inward attention and the gentle quieting of cognitive reactivity. Within subcortical pathways, dopaminergic activity in the ventral tegmental area shifts into a low, steady mode. This produces a reduction in goal-directed motivation and an increase in tonic calm. The absence of motivational pull allows awareness to remain anchored, not by effort, but by the natural settling of neural activity into slower rhythms. This phenomenon is often associated with a sense of ease, neutrality, and gentle contentment. As parasympathetic dominance remains strong, systemic physiological markers continue to reflect deepening rest. Blood pressure stabilizes at a lower set point, peripheral vascular resistance decreases, and microcirculatory flow becomes smoother. These changes contribute to a subtle warmth in extremities, a sign that the autonomic system has retreated from defensive postures. The entire body adopts an energetically economical state optimized for restoration rather than action. Emotionally, the reduction in limbic reactivity allows the prefrontal cortex to engage in a soft, non-judgmental monitoring of internal states. Feelings arise quietly and dissolve without momentum. The emotional profile flattens into a gentle curve, calm, stable, and spacious. This generates a fertile ground for introspective clarity, where insights can arise unforced, shaped not by cognitive pressure, but by neural coherence. In this configuration, expanded temporal perception, deeper interoceptive clarity, softened sensory input, stable dopaminergic tone, and low limbic activation, the mind enters a state where silence is not merely the absence of noise, but a pervasive, gently structured presence. As the internal quiet deepens, the structure of consciousness begins to take on a different qualitative character. Cognitive events that once appeared discrete, individual thoughts, sensations, emotions, now unfold with a smoother temporal continuity. This is supported by increased theta-alpha coupling across midline cortical networks, a pattern associated with heightened interoceptive sensitivity and reduced narrative processing. The mind begins to experience itself not as a sequence of moments, but as a continuous field of gentle unfolding. In the orbitofrontal cortex, evaluative functions slow considerably. The mechanisms that ordinarily determine the relevance or desirability of incoming information quiet down, reducing the tendency to judge or categorize experience. This produces a perceptual neutrality in which phenomena can arise without being immediately interpreted. Such neutrality is a hallmark of meditative equanimity and reflects a nervous system no longer preparing for rapid behavioral response. Meanwhile, the posterior cingulate cortex, one of the primary hubs of the default mode network, continues decreasing its metabolic demand. Reduced activity here correlates strongly with diminished self-referential thought and a loosening of the narrative identity. The sense of self shifts from being a solid central figure to a more diffuse presence, gently embedded within the flow of awareness rather than standing apart from it. Physiologically, the endocrine system adapts as well. Lowered cortisol allows deeper parasympathetic dominance, and melatonin precursors begin to circulate more readily, creating an internal environment associated with restoration and nocturnal regulation. The body, receiving these biochemical cues, enters a phase of repair-oriented metabolism, with cellular regeneration processes subtly increasing in efficiency. Within the emotional domain, the hippocampus takes advantage of the subdued amygdala to integrate emotional memory without the usual charge or reactivity. This integration supports its long-term resilience, as experiences previously stored with heightened emotional tone become re-encoded in a softer, more balanced form. Over time, this reduces the nervous system's baseline reactivity, making calm states more accessible in daily life. The whole organism, neural, emotional, autonomic, settles into a unified pattern of slow, coherent regulation. Awareness becomes broad yet quiet, steady yet fluid, anchored not in doing but in simply being. As the meditative state stabilizes further, interhemispheric communication begins to adopt a more coherent rhythm. The corpus callosum facilitates smoother, slower exchanges between the left and right hemispheres, allowing analytical processing and intuitive perception to enter a gentle synchrony. This balanced interplay reduces cognitive asymmetry and promotes a unified field of awareness that feels broad, steady, and undivided. In the temporal lobes, activity within the auditory association cortices decreases, reducing the brain's sensitivity to subtle environmental sounds. This dampening of auditory salience allows internal processes to emerge with greater clarity, particularly the faint sensory cues associated with heartbeat, breath, and visceral rhythm. Over time, the mind becomes anchored not by external sound, but by the quiet, internal cadence of the autonomic system. Within the parietal regions responsible for proprioception, neural firing patterns become more diffuse. The precise localization of limbs and spatial boundaries softens, giving rise to a sensation often described in contemplative literature as expanded embodiment. The body feels present but less sharply defined, as though its borders were permeable and gently dissolving into the surrounding space. Descending into subcortical structures, the hypothalamus adjusts its hormonal directives. The stress axis remains subdued, permitting the release of neurotransmitters associated with calm bonding, and repair. Oxytocin pathways strengthen, melatonin precursors stabilize, and the endocrine system shifts toward long-term restoration. This produces a subtle warmth throughout the body, a biological signal of safety and recuperation. Emotionally, the integration between the amygdala and medial prefrontal cortex grows smoother. The prefrontal regions exert a gentle, steady regulation that prevents emotional impulses from escalating. This does not suppress emotion. Rather, it allows feelings to arise as soft waves rather than sharp spikes. The emotional field becomes continuous and quietly textured, supporting introspection without turbulence. In this confluence of neural and physiological harmonization, deepened hemispheric balance, softened sensory processing, expanded proprioception, endocrine quieting, and refined emotional regulation, the system enters a state where experience flows with remarkable ease. Awareness becomes broad yet tranquil, quietly luminous yet unburdened. As meditative stability deepens, the brain's temporal processing networks undergo a quiet but measurable shift. Neural circuits within the medial temporal lobe, responsible for sequencing events and tracking the passage of time, begin to operate with reduced precision. This does not represent dysfunction, but rather a recalibration towards slower, more continuous perceptual flow. Instead of dividing experience into discrete segments, the brain blends moment-to-moment awareness into a gently elongated stream, creating the familiar sensation that time has softened or expanded. Within this temporal softening, the hippocampus engages in a unique pattern of low-frequency oscillation. These slower rhythms support the restructuring of episodic memory, enabling emotional and cognitive material to reorganize with minimal interference. When hippocampal activity aligns with cortical alpha and theta waves, memory consolidation becomes smoother, more integrative, and less fragmented. This alignment is one reason meditative states often leave practitioners with a feeling of inner coherence, as though disparate experiences have settled into a more unified whole. At the level of interoception, the body's internal signals begin to stabilize into a coherent pattern. Baroreceptors, mechanoreceptors, and visceral afferents transmit slower, more harmonious signals upward through the brainstem. These signals are integrated within the insular cortex, which refines them into a subtle, continuous sense of embodied stillness. The result is an experience of physical presence that feels less like a collection of separate sensations and more like a field of quiet, uniform awareness. Meanwhile, the endocrine system enters a phase that contemplative physiology often refers to as a restorative window. Levels of cortisol remain low, while melatonin and oxytocin gain greater influence within the bloodstream. Melatonin, beyond its role in sleep regulation, modulates neuronal excitability and supports antioxidant processes throughout the central nervous system. Oxytocin enhances feelings of safety, trust, and gentle connectedness, even in solitary meditation. Together, these hormones contribute to the enveloping warmth often associated with deep contemplative practice. On a network scale, connectivity between the prefrontal cortex and the amygdala remains reduced, diminishing the immediacy of emotional interpretation. This decoupling allows emotional stimuli to be processed with softer contours, enabling the mind to observe effective material without reactive intensification. Over time, repeated exposure to this gentle mode of processing strengthens neural pathways associated with equanimity, enhancing long-term emotional resilience. Even the brain's waste clearance mechanisms subtly participate in this shift. Lymphatic flow increases during low arousal states, allowing metabolic byproducts to be cleared more efficiently from neural tissue. Although most active during sleep, these pathways show measurable enhancement during deep meditation as well, supporting long-term neuronal health and functional clarity. In this harmonized physiological and neurological environment, awareness rests within a stable, quiet, and expansive state, unforced, unhurried, and gently illuminated from within. As deeper meditative stability develops, interactions within the brain's large-scale networks begin to resemble a quiet choreography, one in which each region contributes minimally yet coherently to an overall field of calm. The temporal lobes, which encode the flow of time and auditory imagery, reduce their predictive modeling activity. When these temporal predictions loosen, subjective time subtly stretches, often creating the sense that moments unfold with greater spaciousness and continuity. This temporal dilation is a hallmark of deep internal absorption, allowing experience to feel slower, smoother, and less segmented. Simultaneously, the somatosensory cortex recalibrates its representation of the body. Neural maps responsible for precise tactile discrimination quiet their boundaries, generating a softer and less rigid sense of bodily form. Sensations become diffuse rather than pinpointed, blending into a gentle field of warmth or vibration. Such changes are associated with reduced parietal frontal coordination, allowing the sense of bodily ownership to shift from tight identification into a broader, quieter perceptual space. In deeper subcortical regions, the basal ganglia enter a mode of reduced motor readiness. Dopaminergic tone, which typically fuels goal-directed action and behavioral initiation, levels into a stable mid-range frequency. This diminishes the felt impulse to move or adjust, allowing physical stillness to remain comfortable rather than effortful. The absence of motor drive enables the mind to rest without being subtly propelled toward planning or anticipation. The vagus nerve continues providing regulatory coherence across organ systems. Patterns of cardiac and respiratory synchrony become more pronounced, and the gentle resonance between them strengthens the internal signal of safety. This has measurable downstream effects. Inflammatory markers decrease, gastrointestinal motility stabilizes, and endocrine rhythms align with restorative processes. The body's internal environment becomes a calm reservoir that supports prolonged mental quietude. Emotionally, the limbic system functions within a narrow bandwidth of subtle tone. There is no suppression of affect. Rather, emotional signals become softer, slower, and less insistent. The prefrontal cortex, freed from the burden of regulating high-intensity emotion, shifts into a reflective but unforced mode, allowing awareness to observe inner phenomena with clarity and ease. All of these adjustments converge into a state in which experience flows with minimal friction. Thought, sensation, and awareness blend in a continuous, quiet stream, uninterrupted by urgency or cognitive pressure. As the internal environment settles further, connectivity within the midline structures of the brain begins to shift toward a more integrated but low-energy configuration. The medial prefrontal cortex, often involved in evaluating social meaning and projecting future scenarios, reduces its evaluative impulses. Without its constant interpretive activity, inner experience loses its narrative framing, allowing perception to be experienced directly without the usual layers of judgment or expectation. In the posterior regions, the retrosplenial cortex adjusts its coordination with spatial and autobiographical memory systems. As its activity quiets, the sense of orientation in both time and personal history becomes less dominant. This does not produce confusion, but rather a gentle easing of the cognitive scaffolding that defines past and future. The present moment expands, not through effort, but through the natural softening of temporal processing. Within the insula, interoceptive awareness becomes more refined and continuous. Neural responses to heartbeat, breath rhythm, and visceral sensation become smoother and more synchronized. This coherence supports an embodied presence that feels stable, grounded, and subtly illuminated from within. Researchers refer to this as heightened interoceptive accuracy paired with reduced narrative interpretation, a combination unique to deeper meditative absorption. Beneath cortical layers, the hypothalamus modulates internal equilibrium with increasing precision. Stress-related hormonal outputs decline further, while restorative pathways gain dominance. Circadian components subtly realign, nudging the system towards states normally associated with early-stage sleep, yet maintaining the clarity of wakefulness. This mixture of wake-based awareness with sleep-based physiology creates a hybrid state often described as relaxed vigilance. Across the cerebellum, prediction circuits shift towards slower, larger-scale modeling. Instead of anticipating rapid changes in sensory input or movement, the cerebellum adopts a more global, rhythmic mode, supporting the overall stability of the meditative state. This contributes to the sense of continuity. Experience feels unbroken, steady, and unhurried. Emotionally, the system remains calm and evenly regulated. Limbic signals rise and fall gently, never gaining enough momentum to disrupt the balance of the network. This emotional neutrality provides the foundation for deeper clarity, allowing awareness to observe without being drawn into reaction. The entire system moves as a unified field, functioning with minimal resistance and maximum coherence, allowing inner silence to feel both vast and swaddy. As the meditative state matures, the brain's internal timing mechanisms begin to exhibit a remarkable coherence. Oscillatory rhythms that typically operate semi-independently, alpha, theta, and the slower components of delta, start to synchronize into broader, more unified patterns. This harmonization reduces internal noise within the cortex, allowing signals to propagate with greater clarity and less metabolic cost. Neural pathways that normally compete for priority now function in a cooperative manner, establishing a form of neurological simplicity that feels subjectively like a deep, continuous stillness. Within the temporal lobes, networks responsible for processing auditory and semantic information reduce their predictive modeling. Sounds, ideas, and internal language lose their compulsive sharpness. Instead, perception becomes more ambient, as if the brain were listening from a wider distance. This gentle reduction in linguistic precision is one reason why deep meditation is often associated with a sense of inner quiet, even when subtle environmental sounds remain present. The mind no longer grasps them. It simply receives them without elaboration. Deeper structures, such as the basal ganglia, shift away from their usual role in habit formation and behavioral selection. As their dopaminergic modulation settles, impulses toward action lose their intensity, creating an internal climate where doing becomes less relevant than being. The absence of compulsive forward momentum enables awareness to stabilize, floating in a slow, continuous present that is neither anticipatory nor retrospective. Within the autonomic system, the sustained parasympathetic dominance produces a physiological state known as restorative equilibrium. In this condition, blood pressure tends to decrease, vascular elasticity improves, and microcirculatory flow reaches a more balanced distribution. Organs receive steady, unhurried nourishment. The endocrine system mirrors this calm. Cortisol remains low, melatonin secretion gradually increases, and oxytocin circulates with greater freedom, supporting emotional warmth and interpersonal openness, even in solitude. In the limbic circuitry, particularly within the anterior hippocampus, emotional memory becomes less vivid, less gripping. Experiences that normally trigger evaluative or defensive responses soften into neutral impressions. This shift is crucial for psychological resilience, as it allows the mind to revisit internal material without becoming entangled in it. Meditation research shows that this form of affective distancing is not suppression but clarity, an ability to observe without absorption. Meanwhile, the insula continues to monitor the body's interior with refined sensitivity. Signals relating to heartbeat, breath depth, temperature, and visceral tone travel through its networks with greater coherence. Because these sensations are no longer overshadowed by cognitive demands or emotional reactivity, they form a quiet, steady backdrop that anchors awareness. The body becomes not a source of noise, but a soft continuum of rhythmic information. When all these elements, slower oscillations, reduced predictive modeling, dopaminergic quiet, balanced autonomic activity, softened emotional memory, and heightened interoceptive clarity stabilize together, the result is a state of profound neurological simplicity. Not emptiness, but an elegant stillness in which complexity is organized, softened, and unified. In this state, the mind does not fall asleep. Rather, it rests within itself, with a depth and steadiness that naturally invites restoration.